There is a difference, right, between having the knowledge of what to do and having the wisdom of how to apply that knowledge. Hey, Amanda here, and I want to talk to you about how to recover when you are having sales conversations and it doesn't go to plan. My name is Amanda Kaufman, and I've been helping coaches and experts to acquire more clients more cleanly using systems. If you were to just, figure out what's in this brain knocking around a lot, it's a lot about relationships, it's a lot about systems. I like putting those two things together because after $3 million of sales in my own personal brand, I have got to tell you, this has been one hell of a climb, one very steep climb to get to where I have gotten to with my business. And of course, always dissatisfied, like the typical performer. But I love making content that helps you to navigate some really normal situations that probably feel super foreign, especially when it comes to growing a business that you're super proud of and it's profitable and it supports your lifestyle and all those good things. So let's talk about it. A lot of people, when they go to build a business, they're learning a lot of things from afar. So what I mean by that is we go to seminars, we take webinars, we watch videos like this one, and we learn from afar. We do a lot of consumption, we make a lot of notes, we take it back home, we're in our home office. Hello, I'm in my home office. And the thing is that it doesn't get banged up against reality until it does. And when it does, it's like a whole different ballgame. So something I'm always teaching my clients is hey, business is a contact sport. You're going to make contact with that record button. You're going to make contact with people over digital channels like Facebook and LinkedIn. You're going to make contact through conversations and phone calls. Like that's the whole thing, because at the end of the day, especially for an expert-based business, it is a relationship-based business. So you're going to be earning rapport and trust with strangers to then hopefully progress your relationship to not strangers anymore. And ideally have enough of those people move forward into becoming a customer, a client, that you actually have a viable business. But like I said, we learn all these things from a distance. So when we're learning from a distance, we're going to learn through frameworks. We're going to get 3 steps for this. We're going to get 5 steps for that. We're going to get the scripts. We're going to get the hypothesis. We're going to get the AI prompt that makes it all easy. And then again, there comes a time in everyone's business where they're going to encounter and make contact with reality. Well, reality is so messy. I was going to say sometimes messy. No, always messy. It's messy, because the framework doesn't account for all of the little bits and bobs in between. I heard the Hormozis talk about this recently, and I loved it. It was this idea that there are skills, right? And then there's micro skills. And when it comes to sales and selling and fulfillment, your micro skills play a massive role. It's not about whether you can repeat or regurgitate information. It's about how do you deliver ideas? What questions are you asking? How are you packaging up the information? How are you interacting with people out in the wild? And like I said, reality is gritty. It's dirty. First of all, dealing with different personalities. You're going to encounter personalities that are very bold. You're going to encounter personalities that are very introverted. You're going to encounter people who have different levels of education and exposure. You're going to encounter people who have very different value systems and very different preferences. And it's impossible to put all of those little nitty-gritty details into the framework, because the whole point of the framework is to rise above all the nitty-gritty details and try to teach you the signal and keep it separate from the noise. But when you go to do the darn thing, boy, is it noisy. It's so noisy out there. And that's for everything in your business, whether we're talking about posting to social media for the first time, starting your podcast, speaking for the first time, making sales, actually delivering for the first time. You're going to encounter little things, but thousands of little things that you didn't previously have preparation for. And my friend, that is how you earn a little something I like to call wisdom. There is a difference, right, between having the knowledge of what to do and having the wisdom of how to apply that knowledge. And I would say that wisdom is a really nice roller-upper word for being able to identify the patterns and the details. So recently, I was coaching someone around how they were approaching sales, and they felt that they had been rejected. They felt that they totally messed up the interaction and that they for sure had lost the sale. And as we went deeper into the conversation, it became very clear that my client had the idea that they were to have one perfectly packaged conversation that would lead to a close, a big yes. And the reality was that it was kind of bumpy, the emotional experience of my client on that day, the opportunity coming in when he wasn't really quite ready for it, the expectations of the other person. All of these things basically flooded my client's awareness and made him believe that he had actually done something wrong. And I said, when we walked through the whole process together, we realized he did nothing wrong. He did great. Like, there were for sure opportunities for his preparation. There were opportunities for his execution. But like 80-20, he did like most of everything just fine. Absolutely objectively correct. And it made me just think about, the first couple years of doing sales in my own business. I was so convinced that I was doing everything wrong and that somebody else always had a better way that they were going to do it, and that I was never going to learn those better ways, or I was never going to be able to be those better ways. And it was a nightmare because I was just living in this anxiety for a long time. What I've come to realize when it comes to selling and sales and content and marketing and messaging and all of that is it's difficult to understand all of the details, but not impossible. And just because you don't understand right now today what is exactly going on, because our brains can only process so much information at a time, doesn't mean you're never going to understand it. The more reps that you get, the more repetition that you go through, the more opportunities, the more at-bats that you get, the more information you're going to gain exposure to. And the question is like, are you going to approach those interactions with curiosity, or are you going to approach those interactions with trepidation and anxiety? And here's the thing. This is wild. But if your emotional experience that you're having is really ratcheted up, it's really anxious, it's really, fight, flight, or freezy, your ability to remain calm and to see the situation for what it is starts to disappear, because your brain starts going for like, what's dangerous about this situation. And if you're somebody who's really committed to high performance and high achievement, I guarantee you're going to find things that you could do better. Like this very video, I was like compelled, I'm going to start talking, I'm going to go for the thing. I hit record and I'm like, shoot, I don't have makeup on, And like, there's a part of me that is like, you got to stop doing that, girl. I mean, like, you look a little tired. You look a little 41. And the truth is that I also have the inspiration and the energy right now to hit that record. If I insert a 20-minute preparation to make sure my face is not offensive to you, then I may not have the same level of energy for sitting down and simply hitting record. So I share all of this with you because your brain is going to pull in all these data points, and especially if you find yourself on social media a lot or using AI a lot in a given day, there's only so much your brain is going to be able to actually absorb in terms of that data and that information. What will serve you so much is to ask yourself, what is the needle moving action here? And did I honor that? Did I honor what the most important steps were in the thing that I wanted to do? Or am I obsessing over those micro skills, and am I obsessing over those micro data points and all these things that are making me uncomfortable? The thing is your comfort is going to come from the repetition, the exposure to all of those things, and to allow your mind to absorb, to process what's actually going on. so that you can make the next best step forward. I am a big fan of teaching from framework. I am a big fan of teaching steps and process and details because it helps people to be able to start to replicate. And then once you can accurately replicate, then you can start to expand your understanding and gain your own wisdom about how things are supposed to go. I think what a lot of people do is they go rogue. They're honoring their independence, they're honoring their freedom, and hey, go you if that's you. That's me too. But you can end up like getting very lost and putting a lot of emphasis on things that don't matter and putting not enough emphasis on the things that really and truly do matter to achieve your goals. And whatever that case may be, whether you're overemphasizing or underemphasizing, your performance is going to be impacted negatively if you are not giving enough energy to the things that do matter and you're giving too much energy to the things that don't matter. Now, here's the real trick about this whole mattering thing. What matters to you? This is really a values question. What do you value? So coming back to like the experience of like, hey, I think I messed up that interaction. I messed up that sales call. I messed up that follow-up. I messed up that follow-through. I said the wrong thing. I was dumb. I didn't prepare the way that I could have prepared. The recognition of all those data points is really, really powerful, but it's what you do with it that really matters. If you're recognizing all of those mistakes, all those issues, those missteps, but you're not adjusting your behavior, you're not adjusting your actions or decisions that you're making as a result of that recognition, you may be engaged in a self-punishment cycle. And I see this a lot. I see a lot of people, like when they finally make contact with their prospect or somebody who's interested in testing out the business or something like that, because we're on such high alert of like, oh my God, what if I fail? It can lead you to not recognizing where you are succeeding and where you are doing the requisite thing. And if you aren't careful, it's that panic and the freak out that's going to be the thing that stops you from progressing, apart from anything else. You know, there is no one single right answer for how to be successful, but there very much is a pattern to business. There's a pattern to the workflows and the activities that you do that are more likely to achieve the result. And if one of your patterns is to kind of say like, I can't do this, or I'm freaking out, then that's a pattern worth addressing. Because if we can have a different response, if we can recognize that we're not afraid, we're simply uncomfortable. And if we can explore like, what's making this uncomfortable? Well, it's uncomfortable because I've never had this conversation before. It's uncomfortable because no one's ever actually told me no before. It's uncomfortable because no one's criticized my work before, right? Being a business owner is wild because like the more that you really put yourself out there, especially with a personal brand, the more you realize that people don't understand the risk that you're taking with doing it. And the more you realize that there's a lot of bored people that will say some pretty harsh things, and they're going to do it because they are bored. And you've put your content out there to be reacted to. And when you realize like that individual is commenting on your thing because they really don't have a lot else going on, you start feeling far more permission to like publish and to put things out there because you just accept the reality that like some people aren't going to like it and some people are going to have a problem with it. And some people are going to, wish that you did something else differently. And it's like, yeah, okay. Right. And when it comes to the sales conversation, people will shop for things that they want, but they don't believe they can have all the time. It doesn't mean that you screwed up the sales conversation. It means that they were curious, they were interested. And by the way, if you don't have a process for how to sell, you're going to learn the process that everybody uses to not buy, right? Because you've probably heard like people shop, but people don't buy like all the time. You do it. I do it, right? We explore possibilities before we make commitments to those possibilities. And so if someone is saying no in a sales call and you feel bad because you're like, oh my God, I wasted my time, or oh my God, I wasted their time, or oh my God, I suck at sales. Like if that's your narrative, then you're going to feel pretty heavy and sad about building a business. Because the truth is, that people do shop. And, if you don't have any kind of filtering that happens before the consult, where you offer marketing, that you let people see what you're about, that you let people hear your perspectives on things. If you don't have content that does that, then yeah, you're going to get a lot of people who are like curious, and they're going to have to find out all that information from you personally, because you've built a business that is 100% based on your connected conversations with people. You haven't architected a marketing experience that answers a lot of the questions that someone might have, so then they need to speak to you in order to make a decision about buying. Okay, so I think what I was really wanting to say here is sales is a skill, marketing is a skill, emotional regulation is a skill, identifying something that's truly valuable to another person is a skill. And so therefore, successful business ownership is really about developing and building the skills that are going to allow you to do it. Don't take every action you take so seriously as to mean something about who you are, or mean something about your future, or mean something about your intelligence, or whatever the story is that you're telling yourself about the results that you're getting. Because business is really and truly, it's black and white. It's steps that people take and don't take, and it's the frequency with which they take it or don't take it. And your proficiency as a business owner is predicated on your ability to understand the causes, the effects, and to make decisions that improve the likelihood of your success. And of course, the struggle is guaranteed, but your success is not. And I think that that's one of the scariest, hardest things about, I was going to say entrepreneurship, but I gotta tell you, that's life. That's life too. Because even if you're remaining in a job situation, look at the disruption that's being caused by AI. No one is safe indefinitely in life, period. So then the question becomes, if you're walking this earth, would you like to feel like you're at the effect of the rug being yanked out from under you, or would you like to keep improving those skills and keep approaching with curiosity and keep developing yourself and keep developing how you grow? To me, it's like a quality of life question. I personally feel a whole lot better cultivating skill set and learning from actions, from mistakes, from those around me and what's going on. I would rather stay fully engaged, because the opposite is very depressing. All right, so keep going, keep sparking conversations, keep having connections with people, stop taking things so personally, stop moving so slowly, and keep going. You've got this. And if you want my help, make sure you check out the links around this video. I run a group program called the Experts Network. It's a community for experts and coaches who are ready to stop hacking at this business thing. They're ready to go pro. They want to have a great offer. They want to have great content. They want to have great connection. They want to build great communities, and they want to do it all to have a sense of independence and freedom in their own lives. So send me the word expert on Instagram, or click around this video and you can go check that out if you're ready to talk about that. And if you're not, well, watch this other video. We'll see you soon.